Hello. In today's tutorial, we're going to talk about rate setup in Easy Innkeeping. Before we actually talk about the rate setup itself, we need to discuss how the rates affect the units. So when we go into the setup screen and we look at unit setup, we sort the view by room type. By clicking on the room type column header. So we see here that each of the room types, each of the units under the room types have the same rate name assigned to them. All the double rooms have the 9 double room rate, the deluxe bedroom have the 8 single room, and so forth and so on. So every unit under a given room type should have the exact same rate name. Also in the room type setup, that same rate name needs to be assigned to that room type because they can be different. If you want to charge it, for example, this single room 14, if you wanted to charge a different rate for it, you would need to either assign it to an existing room type different from deluxe bedroom or create a unique room type just for that room. Either is acceptable. But the main thing to remember is that all units under one room type need to have the same rate name. Alternatively, each of the room types, you don't want the same rate name assigned to multiple room types. You want the double room, for in this example, double room SM, as opposed to the double room would have different rates. You don't want the same rate assigned to multiple room types. Each room type should have a unique rate name. Any questions about that or any difficulties with that, you can always contact support. Now let's talk about rate setup itself. So when we go into rate setup, these are the different rates that we have. We can create new ones. We can modify existing ones. When we create a new one, we click on Add Regular Rate. Choose whether the rate is a daily, a weekly, a monthly, so forth. Typically, it's going to be a daily rate. The rack rate is the price per night. The included occupants will be, so if this $85 is for 2 people, and then the third person, fourth person is an extra $10, say, and then children or children over 12 or however you term it would be $5. Then the weekend surcharge is if, let's say, this $85 rate is for Sunday through Thursday, but Friday and Saturday are an extra $15. You would make your weekend surcharge $15 and mark Friday and Saturday. And then you save your rate plan. So now we have our test rate in the list, complete with the weekend surcharge, the extra person charge, and the included occupants would be 2. Okay. Now for seasonal rates, keep in mind that seasonal rates are a 2-step process. The first step is to come up here to the Seasons and Holiday Definitions tab and set the date ranges. These are only date ranges. These do not apply to any rates. They don't charge anything to any room. They're just simply date ranges. So we add a season. You can add multiple date ranges to any given season. So if we wanted to create one, for example, holidays, and we wanted to charge the same rate for July 4th, Memorial Day, Labor Day, we can do that. Or as another example, weekends in summer. And then we go and select all of the weekends for the summer months. We'll use 2019 as an example because 2018 seasons are coming to a close. So you would just, you see the Friday, so here's the Friday. Now the to date is going to be the checkout date. So if we want the 9th included in this rate, we will select the to date as the 10th. Save and add more. Then we just keep on picking those weekends out of the list. And you would just keep going. When we've gotten them in there like we want them, then we go back to the rates tab, and this is the second step of the seasonal rate creation process. So we'll use our test rate as an example. So we just click the little eyeball under add seasonal rate. So we have all of the information that we had entered previously. Then we come to the add additional rates section. So here's our weekends in summer. Check that. The rack rate is going to be, instead of $85, we'll make it $100. Now, if you want to keep all of the extra person charges and the included occupants, weekend surcharges the same, you just simply save rate plan. If you want to make them different, you check the extra charges different from rack, and then you can enter all new extra person charges. And we'll say a $30 weekend surcharge this time for Friday and Saturday. Save rate plan. Now, to view the seasonal rates that we've just created, or any other seasonal rates for that matter, we click the magnifying glass to the far right of our test rate. And here we see the weekends in summer that we set up. It, of course, in a real world setting, it'll have more than this because you've added all of the weekends in summer, but this is a test case. And you see the increased rack rate, the increased extra person charge, and the increased weekend surcharge. So any reservations made for the rooms that have this rate for these dates will get these prices. Any other dates, it will get the regular default rate. And as always, any questions about that, you can always contact your support team through live chat or by phone call. Now, excuse me, for those of you that use the OTAs, the Expedia and Booking.com, we do have in our rates set up a channel manager markup. If we look here, it's right here. The channel manager markup, the Expedia and Booking.com typically charge a 15% commission. So we can mark up the rates by 15%. Now this is extra 15% will only be sent to Expedia and Booking.com. Your calendar and your booking engine that we provide will still be this rate, but the channel managers will get the rate of 15% higher. This also will apply to any seasonal rates that are set. So that when we look at the seasonal rates, we see that we have our markup value of 15%. You don't have to go into each of the seasonal rates to apply it. All you have to do is apply it to the regular rate, and it'll apply to the seasonal rates. Then when we go push rates to the OTAs, we select rates, and then once we push them for anything that has that markup will be an extra 15%. One thing to keep in mind when pushing rates is you always want to do for a larger date range than just a few days. And keep in mind that you can do up to a year. So let's do that. Now keep in mind that your to date here, if it falls within the middle of a seasonal rate, it will not pick up that seasonal rate when you push the rates. So you want to make sure to make your push to include all of the dates of your seasonal rates that you've just created. Two last things I want to show you. One is the multiple rate setting. When we're on our calendar and we select any given room and the reservation screen comes up, We have a rate selection drop down in the upper right-hand corner. And it will show all of the rates in the regular rate list. If you want to limit this to simply the ones that apply to this unit, in this case Chalet 2, we go to our unit setup, go to setup, we go under unit setup, we find Chalet 2, scroll down and click on Advanced Settings, put the multiple rates selection on Yes, and we pick the rates that are applicable. It's okay to only have one rate apply to that room. It does not, even though we're turning on multiple rates, it does not have to be multiple rates. So we'll just say our test rate and the chalet rate apply. We save our changes. Then, when we go to make a reservation on that unit, our drop-down list will now only have those units we selected. Once again, it is okay to just simply have one selected. You don't have to select multiple, even though you are turning on multiple rate feature. It's perfectly okay to just have one. That'll make things easier for the front desk workers to not have to pick through all of that whole list of rates. The last thing we're going to cover is our daily rate chart. So when we're looking at the calendar, we click our calendar selection drop down and we put it on daily rate calendar. Now this is a pop-up window, so if pop-up blocker is active, it may block the pop-up. So keep in mind, if you don't get a pop-up with the daily rate chart, then you can tell the pop-up blocker to allow it. This is going to show you any of your rates that you have set for the different rooms, and it'll show you what rate applies to this room, and it'll show you what it's going to charge on any given day. You can go, it's got the same calendar navigation button, so you can go forward 7 days, forward 30 days, back 7 days, back 30 days, or jump to any specific date. You can edit the rates for each one here. It's not advisable to do so because each time you edit this rate and save it, it's going to create a new seasonal rate in the middle of your existing seasonal rates if one is in effect. It's okay to do so, but keep in mind that will happen. So if this is in the middle of a seasonal rate, it will break that seasonal rate into 3. So it'll have the seasonal rate for this, the seasonal rate for this, and then a new seasonal rate for the rest of them. So if you go in here and make a bunch of changes, don't be surprised when you go look at your seasonal rates and you see some that you never created, because this process will create them for you. And that concludes our rate setup tutorial. Once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to come on live chat with the support team or call the office during office hours. And thank you for your time. Have a great day.